what is Donald going to do, and what does he promise to get us away from World War III?
Yeah, exactly. So you must first come from the intent, which Trump has, and he's well on the record, that war is not something to flippantly throw around as a cheap negotiating tactic or bargaining chip. War is the worst thing we can do. And I feel as if Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, John Bolton, Leon Panetta, the people that Kamala Harris has now surrounded herself with, that were the architects and the authors of the Iraq War, they're very flippant about war. They don't seem to be concerned about the suffering, the death, the casualty, the spending, the PTSD, the veterans issues. I mean, war is the worst thing that human beings can do. It's the worst expression.
But people make money off of doing it.
They make a lot of money off of it, and I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's a death cult.
So how do we?
So blessed are the peacemakers. Donald Trump will then, before he is president, because Zelensky's already coming to the table, he'll put Putin at the table and Zelensky at the table, and he'll say, "You're not going to get everything you want. You're not going to get anything you want. This ends right now. Mr. Putin, you probably get a portion of eastern Ukraine. Zelensky, stop saber rattling. You're not going to NATO. We're not going to have a couple 100,000 more civilians needlessly dead. This is done. This is over." America is strong enough to broker that deal today because, George, this is what's so important, is that there was a peace deal on the table that would have prevented the Russian-Ukrainian war 5 days into the conflict. Your audience can fact check me on this. This was in Istanbul, Turkey. Tony Blinken and Boris Johnson went to Istanbul, Turkey, and they obliterated a peace deal that was on the table between Zelensky and Putin because they said, no, we will not negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Well, now we have to negotiate with him, and that was the wrong decision, and hundreds of thousands of people needlessly died. So blessed are the peacemakers. I can go deep into that, but it's a peace through strength posture, where Trump is unafraid to project American strength, not weakness, but he is trying to seek reconciliation. What America gets is what America wants. We are still the strongest country in the world. It's not China. It's not Russia. We're still the world reserve currency status. We have the greatest military, most aircraft carriers. We don't have the most nuclear weapons. That's Russia. But we still kind of call the shots.
Hey, man.
Well, no, I mean...
I don't know if you know this. That's a big weapon, dude.
No, it is. We have a lot of nuclear weapons, but at some point, 20,000 versus 10,000.
Where did they get this, and how did they get this so quick?
Well, the Soviet Union spent tons of money on developing an internal intercontinental ballistic missile nuclear warhead program starting in the 80s and 90s. And I mean, it's not the 80s and 90s, I'm sorry, the 60s and 70s, and then it culminated in the 80s and 90s. But anyway, we have a bunch of nuclear weapons. They do too. In almost every metric, though, what America gets, America wants. If we demand peace, we will get peace. Right now, the American Foreign Policy Project thinks that Putin is the worst person ever. I don't like Putin. You don't like Putin. Is he like the warmonger of... Is he like the most evil person since Adolf Hitler? I don't think so, actually. I think he's a thug and he's a gangster that is morally equivalent with most kind of Eastern European thugs, to be perfectly honest.
How did you feel about the Tucker Carlson interview then?
I thought it was fine. I learned a lot. I mean, here's Putin, a guy that controls a country of 12 time zones, the largest landmass in the country. It's an incredibly diverse country. It's like 10 or 15% Muslim. You have a lot of different mafioso, post-Soviet influences. It's not an easy country to govern. I'm interested to learn about what they think about us. I mean, we should learn about what does Russia think about us.